Welcome back to 5 Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We're just 1 month away from football. Yeah, it's preseason, but fantasy football drafts are right around the corner. And the best advice that we can give you here is to just do as many mock drafts as you can. Mock drafts are a combination of learning average draft position so you know value, so you know where positional trends are. Okay, I'm in a one quarterback league and quarterbacks tend to start falling off the board that I like in the 8th, ninth, 10th round. I can wait till the 10th round and grab a quarterback that I like. Or it's a super flex league, and this is where the quarterbacks are going. Did a mock draft. Let's look at it. Let's talk about team builds. At the end of the day, the best team builds are all about value, getting the players at good value versus reaching or ending up, taking too many of one position and another. Again, practice makes perfect, and start mock drafting today. And a great place to do that's over at Sleeper. But if you're doing any real drafts, go to Underdog Fantasy, download Underdog Fantasy, and use promo code FFSGPN so they know we sent you. It's FFSGPN. So let's look at it. In Superflex, again, you can have a quarterback in the flex position. Even average quarterbacks are going to score more than, the wide receiver threes or running back threes that you're usually playing in the flex position. So you're going to want to get multiple quarterbacks. So Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen in the first 1-2, that's very normal. Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, Hill, Monra, Chase, all those guys still end up in the first round. I took Tyreek Hill. I think he's got a great shot at being the number one. CeeDee Lamb had a great year last year. I know he's going to get a ton of targets, but he's also coming off a great year. Teams are going to be really trying to do what they can to slow him down because he's the only thing going on in that offense. Justin Jefferson, big change at the quarterback. What's that going to look like? Amon-Ra St. Brown, do we see a bigger jump from Sam Laporta? Do we, Gibbs, Jameson Williams, and then Jamar Chase? Can Joe Burrow bounce back? We've seen a lot from both of them. So for me, I took Tyreek Hill, took Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor. Then I stacked Tyreek Hill with Tua. I got Dalton Kincaid. I think Dalton Kincaid's in for a monster 2024 season. Again, you're looking for guys that can be number one or number two in their targets. There's a few guys that are in that conversation. Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, Mark Andrews. Even Jake Ferguson could end up being number two on his team in targets. Evan Ingram could end up being number two on his team in targets. There's not many of those guys, but Dalton Kincaid's one of them, and I love his after-the-catch ability as well as his ability to play downfield. Not every tight end is built like that where they can move like a receiver, and you see his yards after the catch, in comparison to a Michael Mayer coming out. George Pickens, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Ramondre Stevenson. For the running backs, I'm looking for volume. Volume's king, and a guy that Ramondre Stevenson just got paid. I think he's a nice value for a workhorse in the 7th round. Again, if you say, hey, I like Joe Mixon, I'd rather Joe Mixon than Ramondre Stevenson, then I'm good with that. But are you good with Rome Odunze or Evan Ingram instead of Kincaid? Would you rather Joe Mixon and Evan Ingram than Stevenson and Kincaid? Let me know in the comments. Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, again, volume. Godwin's moving back to the slot. I think he's having a big year. Was targeting Jaden Reed, but didn't work out. Zach Moss. Zach Moss had a huge year. Is he going to be a Mike Davis type that just flashed last year, is going to do terrible in this offense? Or is he going to be good? I'm not a Chase Brown guy. I think Chase Brown had a few splash plays that people are thinking he did a lot more than he did last year. I got Will Levis. I got Taysom Hill. Both can play in the Superflex. Taysom Hill is just an interesting guy in that offense that is my backup tight end, but I could end up flexing him. Who knows? Maybe he starts a game at quarterback for me, or maybe he ends up, getting more carries like last year. Brandon Cooks, and then Elijah Mitchell. I'm not hoping anything bad ever happens to Christian McCaffrey, but if something did, Elijah Mitchell has a much more upside than the guys that are going in this area. If something were to happen to Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell started the entire season, he could be a top top 10 running back in this year. So, and McCaffrey's had plenty of work. So, let me know what you think about this. It's 5-minute fantasy football. As always, good luck this season.